This is Geometry, Lesson 1-12. Today we were talking about quadrilateral angles. So yesterday was quadrilateral types. Today we're talking about the angles within them. And today is finally the day that we get to kites. Yeah, so we're going to go fly some kites outside. It's going to be pretty fun.
Really?
No.
Oh.
Wow. It felt so good to do that. I'm sorry.
Leaving.
All right, so parallelogram. If you are a parallelogram, what does that mean? And with a new definition, this one you guys are just going to write this down. And let me find my notes here. So if you're a parallelogram, you have two pairs. You're writing this down with me. Two pairs. There's too much talking. If you're talking, you're going to start losing HP. Two pairs of, and then here's the key word, opposite. I'm going to underline that because that's our new part of the definition. Opposite congruent sides. Yesterday we learned that a parallelogram has two pairs of parallel sides. Now we're saying two pairs of opposite congruent sides. So it's just another definition that you have to add into a parallelogram. So this is a parallelogram. I know it's a parallelogram because I have two sets of parallel sides, which is our definition from yesterday, but also this. So write this down. I'm going to wait because you guys are still writing down. Okay, I see no more pencils moving. So go ahead and write this down too. Two tick marks here, two tick marks here. This length is congruent to this length. The sides have equal measures. Same thing over here. This length and this length are the same. So two pairs of opposite congruent sides. That word opposite, can someone help me with that word? What does that word mean, opposite? I kind of covered it yesterday a little bit informally, but what does opposite mean? Quiet raise hand for opposite. You want to try it, Jaden?
Are we referring to this shape?
Yeah, sure, this shape if you want.
It's like across from it? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's across from it. Let me go over. Where's our? There it is.
I didn't even know. Is that right or is that like
No, that was correct. Yeah, so it's across. So it's not adjacent. So opposite of this length right here. Don't write this down. Don't write this down. Opposite of this length right here is this length right here. It's over the other side. Here's something that's not opposite. If I drew this length right here, this is not opposite. This is adjacent. It is touching it. So if I write down the word opposite, and let's write this down too, opposite, that is the same thing as saying across. Or it's the same thing as saying not touching. Question, Colby? Okay. All right, so in this diagram, I want to label what's going on. These are the rules that we're just going to have to take in. So if I have measures A, B, and C for the angles, the measure of angle A, how do I say that? What are the symbols? Yeah, Ellery.
You do M and then the little like
Angles.
thing. Measure of angle A.
Perfect, yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so the measure of angle A is congruent. It's actually equal to, since I'm talking about the measure. The measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle C. So I can come in here, I can do this with green now. This measurement here, do a tick mark. On A right here, do a tick mark. That is the same as that angle right there. If you don't like tick marks, another way of writing this, which is a little bit more formal, is doing another one of these circles. And Mr. Sindel can try this poorly. But if they both have two circles, that means that they are both congruent. Or you can do a tick mark. It's either or. Those two are the same angle in a parallelogram. Other thing that you need to know is this. Oops. If I have the measure of angle A, and I add it to the measure of angle B, what do you think this sums to? If anyone want to take a guess, just shout it out.
180 degrees.
It is 180 degrees. So if you want an easy way to remember this, adjacent, these two angles are adjacent. If they're adjacent, they add up to 180. If they're opposite, they are equal. You have it in the notes here. All right, let's try an example. This is from Khan Academy. I just copy and paste it. What is x? X is equal to what? Quiet raise hand. Only 2 people know x. 3 people know x. What is x in this diagram from example 1? 4 people know what x is. Just use the notes. We just went through this. What is x? I need at least like 6 or 7 hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have 6 hands now. Caroline, go for it.
116.
116 degrees. Perfect. Yeah, it's equal to it. If it's opposite, then it's the same exact measure. So I'm going to come over here. Caroline. XP. Perfect. It was that easy. Trapezoid. All right, so there's 2 types of trapezoids. Sam. There's 2 types of trapezoids. There's the isosceles trapezoid. I am going to butcher this spelling.
Isosceles.
Okay, I have to Google this. I'm sorry. I don't know how to spell isosceles. I know, I'm so bad. Isosceles. I was close. There it is. Isosceles, yes. So it's, okay. Oh, so it's SC, I see. So this is isosceles, this is, we'll say not isosceles. All right, so this is how this is going to work. Let's see, all the people that I just saw talking. Aurelio, Oscar, where are you, Oscar? Down here. Samantha, and Jaden. I saw all of us talking. You guys were off task.
I was trying to help Elliot out. She's not
I'm
doing so
invincible,
well.
dude. Do you get a smiley sticker for that?
All right, so now that we're not talking, let's go to learn how to do isosceles. Isosceles. We say that the measure of angle y is equal to the measure of angle. What would you guess? Shout it out if you want to take a guess.
W.
Z. It is Z.
What? I thought it was a cross. Are you lying to me?
So y and z, if they're both on the bottom, I guess at bottom if it's oriented this way, then they are congruent. Same thing with x and w. Let's go ahead and write that out too. Measure of angle x is equal to the measure of angle w. So that's half of the isosceles. The other half is this, and it's very similar to our parallelogram. The measure of angle, and you're going to have to write this small, so be careful. Measure of angle y plus the measure of angle x is equal to, someone shout it out. You guys probably know this already. Y plus x is equal to, shout it out. 180 degrees. And same thing for x and w. So the measure of angle x plus the measure of angle w is also equal to 180 degrees.
Wait, shouldn't it be? Wait, never mind.
Sorry, no, that's an error. Catch it.
Oh, well, I just had the letters mixed up in my head.
No, there's an error up here. It's right here. Someone catch that error.
No, yeah, the X isn't, one of the X's isn't right, but.
The bottom X needs to
Yeah.
be Z.
Yeah, so India is the official one that gets the credit.
Wait. Yeah. Sorry, everything is mixed up in my head. I can't.
Yeah, you need to go home. Yeah, I think you need to go home.
All right, India, teacher error. Log that in your extra credit tracker and I can come sign it later. All right, so when it's not isosceles, you're only narrowed down to these bottom 2 rules. So again, we're going to write this out. You can say that the measure of angle x plus the measure of angle y is equal to, someone shout it out, 180 degrees. There it is. That's all you can have.
That's right.
All right. A lot of facts about trapezoids. But I mean, they're pretty straightforward. So this time if they're straight across, if they're adjacent angles and they look about the same, then they're going to be equal. These are adjacent, but they don't look quite the same. This is small, this one is big. So example 2, what is x? Quiet raised hand. What is x in example 2? I see 2 people that know the answer by their quiet raised hands. I need more quiet raised hands. X, example 2, what is it? Oscar.
48 degrees.
48 degrees. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If everyone does thumbs up or thumbs down, you all get 10 XP. Let's see if we do it. All right, 3 people didn't do thumbs up or thumbs. Oh, eventually they did it. Okay, it was just a little bit delayed. Next time, faster, please.
My answering is
All right, it was not 48, but good guess, Oscar. So you still get your XP too.
No, I'm not doing that.
No, it's no. You're getting smarter by making errors. What is X then? Beverly.
132.
132. Why is it 132 and not 48 degrees? Beverly, you can continue if you would like.
Oh, because those two are not like the same, so you have to subtract 180 from 48 to get back.
Yeah, and you said a little bit off. You want to subtract 48 from 180,
Yeah.
right? Exactly, yeah. So you do that subtraction problem because they don't look the same. And I really like how you said it. These two don't look the same. If they don't look the same, they should add up to 180. Do 180 minus 48. Perfect. So Beverly, you get not only the correct answer, but because of that second part, you found the error, you get that additional 20. All right, example 3. This example is tricky. Why did I put example 3 below the trapezoid and not below the parallelogram? What's going on here?
Yeah, I want to try some.
Example 3. The first question I have is this. Is this a parallelogram or is it a trapezoid? And explain why. Colby.
It's a trapezoid.
It's a trapezoid? It looks like a parallelogram. Why?
Because the lengths of all the sides are not congruent to each other.
Yeah, so by our definition up here, it should have 2 pairs of congruent opposite sides. These lengths here, 9.9, is not the same length as 10.5. It doesn't have congruent sides. So this is actually a trapezoid. Trapezoid has 2 parallel sides. So thank you, Colby. Now someone tell me what X is after Colby gets his XP. Someone tell me what X is now that we've analyzed our problem. X is equal to, yeah, go for it, India.
132.
132. It's the same problem, basically. $132 degrees. All right. Moving on.
To the kite.
To the kite. Let's go fly a kite. Up to the highest height.
Oh.
I know, got some lyrics. So let's do this. All we really need for the kite is this, that the angle W is congruent. I can do a congruent symbol. There we go. Angle W is congruent to angle Y. For XP, why did I not write the measure? Why didn't I say the measure of angle W is equal to the measure of Y? Why didn't I use that M symbol? Anna. That's a good guess, but that's not exactly the reason. You still get your XP though. There it is. So it has to do with this symbol right here. Why did I not use the M? Ellery.
Because they're congruent and not equal to.
Yeah, so it's congruent, and what about, I'm trying to think of a better way to ask that question. If I write a congruent statement, then it has to be just the angle. I think that's as good as I can get it, just as Ellery said. Perfect. So that's the only thing you really need to know about kites, aside from the way that you identify kites, is that this measure and this measure, so if I label this, let's go ahead and label this really quick. A, B, C, D. The measure of AB is equal to the measure of BC. AB is congruent to BC. That's why I did those tick marks. And same thing down here. AD is congruent to CD, so double tick marks, those are congruent. And they can't be all the same. If all 4 of those were the same, it would be what shape? Quiet raised hand. Colby?
Rectangle or square.
Or a rhombus.
So it's neither actually. It could be, it's a maybe, but it has to be, Ellery, say it again.
A rhombus.
It has to be a rhombus if all of those are congruent. Yeah. All right. That's all you need to know for a kite. Let's do example 4 and be done with these notes. What is X? Example 4, quiet raised hand. I'm not moving until I see 10 hands. That's 10 out of the 18 students. I need 10 hands before I call on someone. What is X? Example 4. What is X? Based off of our notes. I see 9 hands. I need one more hand. One more hand. Come on. All right, there it is, Leo. It is 97 degrees. Thank you for including those units. There it is. That concludes the notes. Please write your summaries on the back. You can talk about how to identify kites, how to identify trapezoids, the difference between isosceles and not isosceles. Oh, by the way, I don't even know if I mentioned this, but isosceles trapezoids have this tick mark here and here, whereas not isosceles trapezoids don't have that tick mark. That was the main difference. I put it in the notes, but I forgot to talk about it. All right, summaries on the back. We're writing summaries. Leo, there's your XP. And that concludes the notes.